You know that feeling when you're scrolling through social media and you see something so ridiculous, so outrageously shallow, that you just have to stop and stare. It could be a viral dance, a celebrity meltdown, or a political soundbite that simplifies a complex issue into a few angry words. It gets millions of views, a tidal wave of comments, and a ton of likes. It's loud, it's flashy, and it's everywhere. Meanwhile, you might hear about a brilliant scientist making a groundbreaking discovery, a quiet philosopher offering profound insights, or an artist creating something truly meaningful. Do those get the same attention? Rarely. They tend to live in the shadows, talked about in hushed tones by a small, dedicated audience. It feels like we're living in a world where the loudest voices get the most attention, where entertainment trumps enlightenment, and where popularity has become a substitute for truth. We're more connected than ever, yet we seem to be losing our way. So, what's going on? Why does it feel like our society is celebrating foolishness while ignoring wisdom? In this video, we're going to dive into that question, and what you'll find might surprise you. Stick around until the end, because the final part of this journey might just change how you see the world and your own place in it. Before we begin, do me a favor. If you value deep thinking, if you're tired of the noise, and if you're ready to explore what lies beneath the surface, hit that subscribe button. Give this video a like and share your thoughts in the comments below. Let's create a space for those who are still hungry for wisdom. Now let's get started. The wisdom we lost. To understand why foolishness seems to be on the rise, we first need to define what wisdom actually is. Wisdom isn't just about being smart. It's not about memorizing facts or accumulating data. It's a deeper understanding, a quiet knowing that comes from experience, humility, and reflection. Think of it this way. Knowledge is knowing that a tomato is a fruit. Wisdom is knowing not to put it in a fruit salad. Wisdom is born from a quiet awareness of the world's complexity. It's about seeing beyond the black and white and embracing the gray areas. The ancient Greek philosopher Socrates believed that true wisdom lay in knowing how little you truly know. It's a humble pursuit, not a flashy one. But our culture has changed. We've replaced depth with speed. We no longer value the slow, quiet process of understanding. Instead, we crave the quick fix, the instant takeaway, the catchy soundbite. Look at the people we celebrate today. Influencers who gain millions of followers for their drama, not their substance. Politicians who simplify complex issues for a quick applause line, not a thoughtful solution. In this world, to be loud is to be heard, and to be thoughtful is to be overlooked. The result? A generation that is drowning in information but starving for insight. The German philosopher Friedrich Nietzsche once warned that when we can no longer tell the difference between truth and illusion, society begins to fall apart. And we see that breakdown everywhere. In the endless shouting matches on social media, in the rejection of nuance, and in the way public discourse has become a performance, not a dialogue. Ask yourself, when was the last time you saw a calm, intelligent conversation go viral? When was the last time you heard a public figure admit they don't have all the answers and that they're still learning? It feels like complexity has become a flaw, not a virtue. How stupidity became the new normal. In ancient civilizations, wisdom was seen as the highest virtue. The Greeks revered philosophers, literally lovers of wisdom. In cultures from China to Egypt, wisdom was seen as a path to a better life. But today, that kind of pursuit seems almost quaint, doesn't it? We say we admire the wise, but we reward those who entertain. The psychologist Carl Jung once noted that thinking is difficult. That's why most people judge. We've replaced deep thought with quick opinions, focused study with mindless scrolling, and thoughtful dialogue with angry debates. This cultural shift isn't an accident. It's been engineered. Social media algorithms are designed to favor emotional reactions and oversimplification. Our education system is often underfunded and overstandardized, focused on producing compliant workers rather than critical thinkers. So what does this mean for us? It means that if you want to think deeply, you have to swim against the current. You have to reject the idea that speed is better than accuracy and that popularity is the same as truth. We have to start asking, who benefits when we stop thinking for ourselves? Who profits when we're too distracted to question the stories we're fed? American philosopher Noam Chomsky pointed out that a great way to keep people passive is to limit the range of acceptable opinions while allowing for a lively debate within that small window. We are given the illusion of choice and freedom, but much of it is curated to keep us from waking up. But here's some good news for you. Wisdom isn't dead. It's just gone into hiding. It lives in the quiet places, in the books we haven't read, in the long conversations we rarely have, and in the moments of solitude that most people now fear. It's still inside you if you're willing to look for it. So, what will it take for wisdom to rise again? And how can we bring it back? We'll explore that in the next part of this video. Get ready, because the answers are closer than you think. The cost of a quiet soul. When wisdom goes into hiding, what rushes in to fill the void? Emptiness. But nature hates a vacuum, and we fill that emptiness with noise. Distraction becomes our new meditation, and mindless consumption becomes our new form of contemplation. Our minds, which were once temples of inquiry, have become billboards of fleeting trends. This isn't just a cultural shift, it's a crisis of meaning. At its core, wisdom is spiritual. Not in a religious way, but in the sense that it helps us ask not just how to live, but why we are here. It's about seeing the eternal in the everyday. But in a society obsessed with what's shiny and new, these questions are often mocked. Think about it. How many times have you heard someone say, "That's too deep," or "Don't overthink it"? This subtle disrespect for introspection is a massive problem. We've built systems that penalize complexity and reward conformity. Schools often reward memorization over imagination. Workplaces value productivity over reflection. And social media rewards outrage over understanding. So, who benefits from this? When people lose the ability to think critically, they become easier to control. This isn't a conspiracy theory, it's a simple psychological truth. Distracted minds are compliant minds. Shallow people are easier to manipulate than thoughtful ones. This is why advertisers want you to react emotionally, not think rationally, and why some leaders prefer obedience over wisdom. As the Stoic philosopher Epictetus said, "Only the educated are free." But today, we often confuse education with indoctrination. We teach people what to think, but not how to think. We flood them with opinions, but starve them of perspective. And slowly, silently, our souls forget how to seek. The true death of wisdom happens not when it's attacked, but when it is simply forgotten. What's a shocking revelation is that many people don't even realize wisdom is missing, because foolishness has been wrapped in humor, made palatable through entertainment, and normalized. When something foolish becomes funny, it becomes accepted. And once it's accepted, it becomes invisible. Stop for a moment and ask yourself, when was the last time you consumed something that truly challenged you? Not something that offended you, but something that made you rethink a core belief. When was the last time you sat with a single thought for more than a minute without grabbing your phone? These questions aren't meant to be accusations. They're meant to be a wake-up call, because awareness is the first step toward reclaiming what we've lost. Your final mission: reclaiming wisdom. So, if wisdom is waiting for us, will you answer the call? You don't need to be a philosopher or a guru. You only need to be radically honest with yourself and with the world. Resurrecting wisdom doesn't start on a mountaintop. It begins in your everyday life, in how you choose what to focus on, how you speak, and how you choose what to value. This shift, though subtle, is truly revolutionary. You start to see that wisdom isn't about having the right answers, but about asking the right questions. You stop rushing to fill every moment with noise and start listening to the silence. You begin to see others not as opinions to be judged, but as mirrors reflecting parts of yourself you haven't yet understood. You begin to experience life not as a race to be won, but as a mystery to be lived. So how do you begin this journey? First, simplify. Wisdom needs space to breathe. Get rid of mental clutter. Limit your exposure to endless noise. What you let into your mind becomes who you are. Second, read. But don't just read anything. Read the books that have stood the test of time. Read the words of those who have walked this path before you, the Stoics, the mystics, the thinkers, not to memorize their words, but to awaken your own. Third, practice solitude. Wisdom doesn't scream, it whispers. You have to be still enough to hear it. Put your phone away. Take a walk without a podcast. Let yourself get bored, because boredom is often the doorway to insight. Fourth, seek out meaningful conversations. Surround yourself not with people who simply agree with you, but with those who challenge you to grow. People who make you think, not just react. This is rare, but it is vital. And finally, learn to live slowly, not lazily, but intentionally. Slow down enough to truly taste your food, to notice the sunset, to hear the tone beneath someone's words. Because wisdom isn't found in the extraordinary moments, but in how you live the ordinary ones. We can reverse this trend. The death of wisdom was a choice, and every choice can be reversed. We can revive wisdom, not as an abstract idea, but as a living presence in our lives. We do this not by condemning the modern world, but by healing ourselves within it. Because the truth is, foolishness isn't just something out there. It lives within all of us, in our laziness, in our ego, in our desire to be comfortable instead of conscious. That's where the real battle is fought. And now, here is the final revelation, the most important truth of all. Wisdom is not something you find, it's something you become. It's not hidden in books or on a mountaintop. It's hidden in your daily choices, in your willingness to question, in your courage to see, and in your humility to change. The modern world may glorify foolishness, but that doesn't mean you have to. You can choose differently. You can choose to awaken. And in doing so, you become a light in the darkness, not loud, not flashy, but unshakable. Because wisdom may not trend, it may not go viral, and it may not entertain the masses, but it endures. And in a world that forgets, to remember is a sacred act. So remember, think deeply, live wisely, and never underestimate the quiet revolution that begins within you. Thanks for watching.